everyone, it's Nick here with Nick's 80s Hard Rock CD album review. I hope everyone's well. The band we're going to look at today is Bon Jovi's second album. It's called 7,800 Degrees Fahrenheit and it was released in March of 1985. There's a picture of John Bon Jovi there in his great 80s outfit there. I'll just read the track list for you, the tracks that are on the album. We've got In and Out of Love, The Price of Love, Only Lonely, King of the Mountain, Silent Night, Tokyo Road, The Hardest Part is the Night, Always Run to You, To the Fire, and Secret Dreams. Yeah, so this was released in 1985, and it had, there's a picture of the band there. I'll go through the band members while we've got them here. Okay. On the bottom left, we've got Tico Torres, the drummer. On the top left, we've got Richie Sambora, guitar. There's John Bon Jovi in the middle with his lead vocals with his hands together. Next to John Bon Jovi, you can just see his head, is David Bryan, the keyboardist. And on the far right is Alec John Such, the bass guitar player. Now this had quite a few singles. It had, one of the singles was Only Lonely. That reached number 54 on the Hot 100 charts and number 28 on the mainstream rock charts in America. And that same song reached number 24 in the UK. The other hit single was In Out of Love, which reached number 37 on the Billboard rock charts. Another song called Silent Night, which is a soft ballad type song, reached number 24 on the Billboard charts. And there was another single they released called Hardest Part is the Night. Now that didn't chart in the American charts, but it reached number 68 in the European charts. So there you go. Here's a bit of a live. There's a live photograph of the boys there, but it doesn't actually show the bass player, Alec John Such, is out of the picture there. But yeah, there they are. Now I'll just go. This album actually, it did really well. I mean, it did really well. It reached number 37 on the American charts, number 28 on the UK European charts, number 10 on the Swedish charts, number 48 on the New Zealand charts, number 5 on the Japanese charts, 40 on the German charts, number 6 on the Finland chart, and here in Australia reached number 28. So it did very well. Now in regards to the sales of this, it was very good for a second album. I mean that they still show to us all, well, show to the music industry as well, that they were a band that was progressing. Look, they were still young. You got to remember, they were still young. They were still trying to find their feet, so to speak. This was their second album, so obviously they had just spent a lot of time touring in regards to their first album. So there would have been a lot of expectations on them, and also fatigue and exhaustion would have come into it in regards to the touring schedule that they were doing. Now, I've actually read interviews and things like that in regards to this album. Now, Bon Jovi, that they weren't really happy with the sound of this album in regards to the producer or the engineer that did this album. They weren't satisfied with it, apparently. Now, even John Bon Jovi has, quoted to saying that he's sort of, disowned this album, that he sort of doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. They did it and that was it, and apparently they don't play many of the songs in their live sets from this album. So that's actually quite interesting, because they're also going through relationship problems. The guys in the band were going through relationship problems with wives or girlfriends, whatever. So there's a lot going on in regards to the making of this album. As I said, that they weren't happy with the overall sound. So, yeah, it's interesting that that they don't really pay much attention to this album. But doesn't matter because Bon Jovi got a lot of other albums under their belt, so they got a lot of catalogue of songs and albums to choose from. So that's sort of an interesting fact I read about this. Now, in regards to certifications, that they reached this album went platinum in Canada. 100,000 copies sold in the UK. It reached silver status certification, 60,000 copies sold. And the US, it reached platinum sales, 1 million plus albums sold. And of course, these figures have probably gone up since. But now, in regards to the sound of this album, well, it's Bon Jovi. I mean, you can't really say anything else. It's Bon Jovi. We all know the Bon Jovi sound. It sounds. It just sounds a bit similar to their first album. It might not have the catchiness of the first album. The first album was very catchy, but this album's a very melodic album, as was the first. And it's. I'm not saying it's a bad album, but I'm not saying it's an excellent album either. It's a decent album. It's neither good nor bad. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, in regards to my favourite tracks, I'd have to say In and Out of Love, Price of Love, Only Lonely, Hardest Part is the Night, and Secret Dreams. So actually, I'm just reading a quote here from, there's a whole lot of liner notes here, and there's a quote here from John Bon Jovi saying, "We were babies on the first record, and the second one was done just 9 months later." So there you go. As I only just noticed this then, that even though they were, as I say, as John said, they were babies, and they were pretty much rushed into doing this second album. So that could explain why they didn't get it as perfect as they would want to. But anyway, it's a fine album, and as I've said, who cares? It's Bon Jovi, a fantastic band. Now, this was that they hadn't even reached the massive success that they were going to release, that they were going to achieve. Now, I'm talking about the next album, which was released in 1986, Slippery When Wet. So the following year. Now, this was, Slippery When Wet. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want to give away anything, but that had the massive songs on it. Slippery When Wet propelled Bon Jovi into outer space, pretty much. That's how big that album was, and as I said before, it made them a household name. So the best was definitely yet to come from Bon Jovi, but they still released two fine, solid albums, in my opinion, and I would recommend this to have in a rock collection, but I wouldn't tell people to go out and to run out and quickly buy it. I wouldn't go that far, but it's still a fine piece of work, and I'm not doubting it in the slightest. But they have better work in their catalogue. So there we go. There's Bon Jovi's 7,800 degree Fahrenheit. And actually, speaking of CDs, it was actually today I got some more CDs, second-hand CDs. Motley Crue's Theatre of Pain. Now, this was released in 1985, so it sort of works out well because I am doing 1985. So their third album. Now, Stryper. I was actually talking to a guy from work, and he loves this band, Stryper. I completely forgot about these guys, and I've never had any of their albums. So here's one of their albums, To Hell with the Devil, and I've listened to a few songs off this, and it's really good. I'm actually seriously considering getting more Stryper. So yeah, I can't wait to listen to this more. And another album called Dokken. Dokken had a lot of success. They're an American band. They had a lot of success in the 80s. And a great guitar player, George Lynch, fantastic guitar player. So there we go. I got some more secondhand CDs, and so I'm building up the collection. Anyway, so Bon Jovi. Now the next album we might do is I might actually do the Motley Crue one since I've got it, 1985. Because, yeah, I might do this next. We'll get this one out of the way. Yeah, so there we go. Bon Jovi, great album, and I'll give this a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Anyway, thank you again for watching, and I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe. And as Bon Jovi has and always will, and even to this day, keep on rocking, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.